I think we've all seen someone who we regard as intelligent, think of as smart, and yet they're still in a terrible financial situation. And, I was questioning why that is. And ChatGPT has become a tool that I've used where if I'm pondering a question myself, I'll consider my own answers, but I also like bouncing ideas back and forth between the AI. So I asked ChatGPT what it thought the reason why many intelligent people stay poor. And it outlined a few reasons. Some of those reasons had to do with external factors, being born into poor socioeconomic status, economic conditions shifting, discrimination, things that frankly I don't really fucking believe in. I'm young, so I understand I live in a different time than many people, but even my own father grew up 14 siblings, living on government aid, and yet he went from being dirt poor to owning millions in real estate, doing very well financially for himself. And regardless of, being a different skin tone than the majority of people who had made a ton of money, or, even growing up like speaking in broken English, all these things that he could have looked at as an excuse to hold him back, his environment, think that he couldn't really control, it didn't matter. And he was still able to position himself much better than where he had started. And so, these things, I understand why they come up, because many people are going to use them as an excuse as to why they can't do better. But the other reasons that it had listed, I actually felt like I heavily related to. One of them being risk aversion. Risk aversion being, people of intelligence tending to overthink and overanalyze. And so while they may be presented with opportunities, they're thinking of the things that could happen, could potentially go wrong. And this is something that I fell into. This Saturday, I was supposed to go out and knock. And that's pretty much why I haven't even posted. To a heavy degree, I felt this level of shame. And rightfully so. I mean, realistically, I know that I'm well qualified to do, more important things than dropping off people's food. I'll go into a store in a restaurant, I'll be waiting, and I'll see somebody else come and doing the same job as me, way less qualified. And I'm just thinking, why? This is not all that I'm meant to do. And obviously, we're doing this in the moment to position ourselves better. But realistically, we have a better opportunity to position ourselves better. It just takes more skill, more leverage, and frankly, a little bit more effort. You can have a terrible attitude and still make money doing Uber. When it comes to sales is a lot about not only controlling your own energy, but influencing the energy of other people around you. And so, my challenge was, I start thinking of, what if a screen rips when I'm cleaning the windows? What if I can't finish enough jobs? What if someone asks if I'm licensed and insured? What if? And I just end up psyching myself out and then thinking, you know what? I want to build a tech company. I don't need to do all this other stuff. I can do the bare minimum and then just focus all my other time. And, whether I make it or not, then it's just on me. And that's not the right way to look at it. If you're going to look at it from the perspective of, I gave my best effort, and if I gave my best effort and regardless of what happens, I'm happy, then that inherently means doing things that are more difficult than just the bare minimum. And so I can't contradict myself and still hold a level of confidence. And that's pretty much what happened. My confidence completely fucking fell. Because yes, in part, some of this stuff, for one, it's going to put me in a better position. But two, I think a large part of, the role of people who do things that are bigger than life, who achieve these major goals, a large part of it has to do with just leaving the world a better place. And an inherent part of that is inspiring other people to go after their own dreams and their own goals. And we're still able to do that. The best case scenario from not doing Windows or doing Windows still leads to the same long-term vision, the long-term goal, which is building Web3 spaces, which actually, my goal has kind of shifted over time. We still are in the frame, or we still do have the long-term vision of obviously building to be a very large organization, but the whole goal is going to be setting up environments that other people can use to build their business, build, real estate, build as far as their mind can really think. And, I'm kind of losing my train of thought here. Basically, what I'm trying to say is the ideal scenario that we're looking to achieve, regardless of the route that we take, is building, these larger companies that allow people to be able to build, their business, their real estate, their dreams. And so I think, our journey, people talk about enjoy the journey as much as possible, but, that journey is not just about building all the key components. It is heavily about becoming the person who's capable of inspiring people to get behind their goal and their vision. This stuff that I'm building is going to take a lot more than just me and ChatGPT. Sure, we can get done a lot of the bones, the framework, so that people can have something that they look at when I explain the vision, but we're going to need to be able to, rally other people behind our goals. And that's going to require confidence, from the leader. And I can tell you this, the last few days, my confidence has been waning. Even just that Saturday, I'd gotten ready to go out the house. I looked amazing. Outfit was on fire. not that even matters all that much, but looked great, had all my gear, was ready to go out, and it just ended up started overthinking. And so while being intelligent does allow you to see the different ways things can play out, life is a lot about probabilities. And I studied this for a time actually in 2022. There's something called the double slit experiment, where essentially if you have a medium where there's two slits that things can pass through, and you have a electron gun where you're firing off electrons in an unobserved environment, those electrons, even though they're passing through, the double slit in the medium, they're going to create this wave pattern. And scientists, they thought, okay, well, this is based off of us rapid firing electrons. What if we did this one at a time? They found the same thing happens, even doing it one at a time, unless it is observed. And once observed, that is where you see the electrons go into the double slit pattern that you'd expect. Like if you were to shoot bullets through a wall and there was a door and you had a machine gun that sprayed 50,000 bullets at a wall, you would expect to see the shape of a door, not a wave pattern. Essentially what I'm trying to say is, these scientists, they noticed that the observation of a certain outcome influences the way that it takes place in reality. And I know that kind of sounds woo-woo, that sounds, weird. Like this stuff is proven and recorded. So, just do your research on the double slit experiment. But what I'm trying to say is, we can think of all these different possibilities that can happen, but I think to a very heavy degree, our consciousness plays a role on what actually ends up manifesting. And so if we're thinking of the best case scenario, or if we're thinking of the worst case scenario and all the things that can go wrong, then it's a lot easier for those things to happen versus if we're thinking optimistically of the best things that could happen. Sure, it may take, sure, there may be, unforeseen things that pop up, but you're going to be much more likely to see the better half or, the better opportunities come into reality rather than all these other things that could happen potentially. And, basically like what I'm trying to say is this whole aversion to risk is inherently a part of business. And so it's about taking measured risk. And the risk that I staying doing Uber is that, it's like my financial situation completely depends on me funding construction projects with crypto. And not to say that that can't happen, but during this year, we have 12 months that we can maximize the most out of, the year. That we can maximize the most out of the year of the snake energy. And, the February portion is not the time that I'm going to be doing the biggest moves, but it is the time that I can be using to situate myself in the best scenario and environment. So when March, when April, when May starts rolling around, I can really start using the momentum from these other areas to scale into the projects that I'm most passionate about, that I'm actually trying to do long term. So this whole aversion to risk needs to, be managed. And you can't just be in this state of overthinking about the negatives. The other thing that ChatGPT outlined as far as reasons intelligent people stay poor is deeming themselves as overqualified to do certain tasks or fill certain roles. There's a reason why immigrants can come to this country not speaking English, not having money, not having connections, and within a few years they live lives that are better than the majority of Americans. It doesn't have to do with their intelligence. It has to do with their willingness to put in certain amounts of work. And even though I don't necessarily think the H-1B visas are the best, at least the way that they're oriented right now, I don't think it's the best way to elicit the top 1% of talent for America. Regardless, these people, even if they're not the top 1%, are still able to come to this country and make a better life for themselves just by putting in the work and doing things that they may deem, themselves to be overqualified to do. And so for myself, like, as I was thinking, like, do I want to keep doing this? I'm thinking, damn, like, I'm smarter than a window cleaner, but like, motherfucker, am I smarter than a fucking car driver? Like, every time I go into these restaurants to pick up food and I'm seeing other people doing Uber or DoorDash, I'm comparing myself to some degree and I'm thinking I am way overqualified than these people to be doing the same role, to be filling the same opportunities. I can do more. And, to a degree, me doing this takes away opportunities from other people who may not be able to do more. Some people can't. But even when it comes down to the window cleaning stuff, I was still framing it from this perspective of, I have to go out and knock, and then I have to do the window cleaning, and I have to do all this by myself before I can start hiring other people. Realistically, if I feel overqualified, especially working for myself, I have the opportunity to promote myself. It's not like there's some boss I have to ask for the opportunity. I just have to provide the value to other people so that I can focus on work that I deem, at my current skill level. And right now, I'm not the best salesman, but, if I want to push myself to improve skills, to build confidence, to become a better person, then I need to do things that are going to be challenging to me. And me sitting in a car and the only challenge is getting out when it's cold as fuck outside to drop off some food, that's not enough to actually progress me to the mental state, to sit at a table with someone who's worth 8 figures and tell them they should send seven figures to, a builder all on chain with my platform. Like there is a progression, right? And not to say that can't happen, not to say that the opportunity couldn't come up, but one of my favorite shows one of my favorite shows over the last few years has been Undercover Billionaire. And I don't know if they've done any new seasons, but the season I watched was with Grant Cardone, Elaine, and Monique, 3 billionaires from different industries. They got dropped off in a city with different identities, $100, a beat up truck, and nothing else. They had to figure out how to make in 90 days $1 million business. All of them succeeded, but they didn't necessarily all start with building the end product. A lot of times they start off doing things that they were well overqualified for just to be able to build the confidence, get a foothold, and gain some momentum. So realistically with window cleaning, I was reviewing Nick's content too, and the way that he was looking at how to scale this, if you want to really go fast and far, is you go out and knock for a day. You don't worry about cleaning. You set up the cleans for a day or 2 days later, but you set up as many appointments as possible, and then you go on Craigslist and you hire somebody and you have them clean, and then you use that time to go and get more jobs. So it is this opportunity where doing that is more skill, is more strategy, and is frankly more effort than just doing Uber. And I've had all this time over the last few days even to start working on some of this other stuff, building on my computer, which I still need to clear storage and move things around. But you know, the confidence and the energy, I don't even think that's just from having free time. I think free time kills that to a heavy degree. I think if you want to have more energy and more confidence and more momentum, then you have to burn as much of your energy as possible on things that are challenging until you start seeing success. Right now, like I can't tell you how shitty it's felt over the last few days, feeling like I took the easier route. You know, even with my interactions with other people, I felt this sense of meekness come over me that I don't like. And so regardless of feeling overqualified for cleaning windows, even if I had to clean the windows, running a window cleaning business takes effort and energy. And imagine starting a business to get yourself in a better financial situation, putting other people on to then start a tech startup. Like that is peak effort to achieve that successfully. But I guarantee if I did that successfully, I would have not only the momentum and confidence, but I would have the energy to keep going even when it feels like I'm exhausted and I'm ready to just hit the sack. I can guarantee if I went out and secured $1,000 worth of jobs, I would come home that night and feel excited. So these excuses that we tell ourselves as to why we can't do things that are more challenging, you know, we're going to have different excuses depending on the person. For me, it was that I need to focus all my energy and efforts into building this platform. And not that I definitely need to have that done this month. But if I'm already going to spend time doing things that I feel underqualified for, I should at least spend the time on the things that take the most skill, the most energy, the most effort to actually, you know, for one, make a living for myself, but two, give myself that confidence that I wouldn't have just driving a car and dropping off food. So this is just my reflections. I know it's been a few days since I posted, like I explained, you know, just felt kind of ashamed in the moment, because the whole purpose of this video series is showing people that it is possible to get these larger goals done if you put in the effort and you put in the work. I want to inspire people, and you can't, not that you can't, but you know, if you want to inspire people, it's not about taking the easier route. It's about taking the route that's less traveled, but is the most fulfilling. So tomorrow's actually gonna be the 23rd, first 33 day of the year. And it presents an opportunity to actually give ourselves the opportunity to change the situation. Because right now, if all I'm doing is Uber to make money, I'm capped for one, but two, I don't have as much resources as I would need to start LLCs or to buy certain resources. It's really just covering the minimum, which isn't enough given there are going to be certain expenses that come with launching a business. So tomorrow, I think if we're just focusing on talking to as many people as possible and setting up as many jobs as possible, then we can position ourselves to make more money, hire somebody, start building a team, and start actually going after some larger targets that will help position ourselves better for some of these other endeavors that we're doing with the tech company. So I think as long as we maintain the long-term vision and, you know, we're doing our best effort each day to move towards it, then, you know, obviously there's going to be things that aren't directly related, but they will be helping to build the confidence and put ourselves in the best financial position to take full advantage of opportunities that come up throughout the year. So we'll be getting on Zillow tonight. So we'll be getting on Zillow tonight. I'm about to go hit a workout, but we'll figure out a route for tomorrow. Whole goal is just going to be talking to, I think if we talk to 50 people, we at minimum should be able to secure 3 jobs, if not 5. And from there, then we can just work on getting a worker. So we need to identify a neighborhood, single story. And from there, it's just about talking to people and, you know, doing our best to, you know, positively affect other people's day. Because at the end of the day, like I said, sales is all about energy, and it's about a transference of emotions. People are not going to remember the words that you said at their door. They're going to remember how you made them feel. So if we look at it from that perspective and we go from the framework of we're just going out to make people's days better and potentially, you know, help them get their windows cleaned, then I think that'll be a strong framework for positioning our mindset going into tomorrow. So that's what I want to do. Like this doing the easy route shit, we tried to justify it, but internally there's just been this confliction, and maybe knocking and doing our best tomorrow will solve it. Maybe it won't, but we wouldn't know unless we give it our best effort. So that's what we're going to do. We'll be posting some updates. And with that being said, I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.